for being with us.
Greetings, Leon.
So, obviously, you read the same reports that we all did yesterday with regard to perhaps the leaking of this report saying that fees at university, free university, is not possible. What are your opinions on all of this?
The ideal is that we should provide free education, free health services, and indeed, to the extent possible, provide quality infrastructure. But resources are not infinite. And by the way, this debate is not new. I've been in the higher education sector for the past over 30 years now, and I've been part of this debate for a long time. I don't see it being realized, being achieved. But what government did, and I commend the ANC government for this, was to step in with TEPSA at one stage, NEPSAS at a later stage. All these were intended to assist those who didn't have the wherewithal to achieve higher education. But Leanne, there is an important point here. There is a lot of money that is being spent by government on higher education. But there are a number of students who are not worth being in higher education. It was no less than a person, Padile Hotla, who said last week, more than 50% of the students who are in the sector don't deserve to be there. And I commend Dr. Blaton Zimande for having tried so hard to ensure that the TVET colleges become what they can be, to provide the necessary technical and vocational services. But they need the infrastructure, and those less qualified, and not necessarily less qualified, but those who are capable and competent to be in that sector are also allowed to be there, and they are given the necessary resources to do what they can.
You know, Professor Tefo, you really are bringing up such an important issue, because this is something that the Statistician General really went quite in depth into about the feasibility of free higher education here in South Africa. And he said exactly the same thing that you are saying, that there are students that don't deserve to be there. They are clogging up the system. In fact, he gave a number to it. He said around about 400,000 university students out of 1 million, or 975,000 if we have to be specific, are clogging up the system. They shouldn't be there because they are failing, they are not doing well. And then he went on to break down how much money is actually spent on tertiary education. Basically what he was saying was that there's about 67.4 billion total income given to higher education institutions. That is a lot of money.
South African government is doing so well when it comes to resourcing the higher education sector, and even education in general. That we don't have quality and professional and committed and competent people to deliver the goods doesn't really say the government is doing the best it can. If anything, we know unionization in the past 10 years is responsible for being where we are. What party is saying, and I'm also saying, prepare the children as early as possible, right? Early childhood, primary education, secondary and high school education. The teacher must teach, the child must learn. And when we go to the SRCs at the universities, if you don't have the intellectual capacity to make it in class, please don't get into those. The reason why we have got this dysfunctional SRCs is because they have become career students. They're non-competent and capable students. And I published on this subject about 10, 15 years ago. They become career students. They are anti-government. They are anti-management. Their job is to pursue quasi-political agendas rather than to commit themselves and prepare themselves for good citizenship, effective citizenship with the necessary knowledge and skill. And these are the uncomfortable truths that we must also talk about. Career students, students who don't learn, their job is just to disrupt and to ensure that fees must fall, become their second life rather than studies when they still have the opportunities.
So when we look at this report that we're hoping, and the presidency has said that it'll hand over, I mean, look, we're talking about a leaked report that came out and were reported on in the papers, but the official report expected to come out, it was handed over to the president in August. Why do you think it's taken so long? What do you think is behind the delay? Perhaps the midterm budget that's telling us that we have no money left?
Look, you see, politics has a way also to try to expose the lies that are being told under the spur of the moment, or out of political expediency in an endeavor to get the results or the electoral votes. Remember, it is the ANC that promised free education. There were posters years that said we are going to provide, but they knew in the hearts of their heart that was not achievable, that was not doable. But political expediency allowed them to do that. So the chickens are coming home to roost. The president knows, if I release that now, and they are still going to fault me for saying, but you did suggest that it was possible, then what has gone wrong? Right? But at the end of the day, it's only fair. I would rather fault on the side of truth and say, tell the people of South Africa, it is not doable, it's not achievable, but government will assist in as much as it does. Leon, if my people were playing ball, we wouldn't be discussing this. Our students were helped through TEFSAs, through NEFSAs, but they don't pay back even when they work, because that money would have been helping other people. Those who qualify to be in the higher education sector, let them be there. But those who have been helped by the state, please pay back so that you can help others to come into this system.
All right.
It is doable, but at least the collection method is a challenge.
Professor, unfortunately, I have to leave it there. Thank you for being with us this morning. Professor Lesiba Tefo is from the Institute for African Renaissance Studies at Unisa, talking to us about the fees must fall situation and whether or not South Africa can afford free education. Just gone 7. Let's get our news to you now.